Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Weekly Inspiration. I am Reverend Leah Alvarado. I'm with New Thought Northern Colorado Center for Spiritual Living. So glad to be with you today. If you are here and want to say hello, feel free to do so in the chat. Would love to know who's with me today. So every week, every Tuesday and Thursday, I choose a different author, a different New Thought teacher. I read a passage, and I include sometimes a little meditation, prayer, affirmation to carry you out into the rest of your day and uplift you and hopefully inspire you. Hi, BJ. Nice to have you here. Today's topic is the ego needs love. It's such a great topic, I think. I think the ego doesn't get, it's not that it doesn't get attention. I think it gets a lot of negative attention. And so we're going to talk about loving up the ego today. And it's the book I've chosen is Everything is Here to Help You, A Loving Guide to Your Soul's Evolution by Matt Kahn. We need to develop compassion and empathy for the ego, whether arising within ourselves or playing out in others. Otherwise, we may develop a more slippery and elusive spiritual ego. When this occurs, we tend to find fault and conflict with other egos. We may try using healing modalities to attain bigger energetic experiences to hide from a reality we came to transform. While the ego seeks transcendence to turn away from difficult feelings, it is the reconciliation of our emotions that grants us access to life's deepest revelations. As our vibration elevates, a capacity to embody and transmit well-being amplifies. This means the more emotionally receptive we become, the higher the frequencies of light we can welcome into awareness and bring forth for others. While the ego judges each feeling solely on how painful or pleasant it is, the soul views each emotion while it lasts as an opportunity to love itself. No matter how frustrating, inconvenient, or boring an experience may seem, instead of trying to change how it feels, we are changing the way we view and respond. As light bearers of a new reality, we dare to give the innocence of our emotion more thoughtful attention as acts of self-love. Even when we don't wish to embrace the ego, it can become a fertile opportunity to be more restful, rooted in spaciousness, aligned with breath, and at peace with time than ever before. I haven't looked at Matt Kahn's stuff in a while, and I just think he's just so tapped into spirit. If you're not familiar with his work, highly recommend checking him out. He's written several books and does a lot on YouTube. And so this idea of loving the ego, I'm curious for all of you what your relationship with the ego has been. I'm going to put our questions in the chat. Yeah, so, what has been your relationship with the ego? I think sometimes in spiritual circles, we get this impression that we should send the ego off on this boat and just let it sail away, never to be seen again. We banish the ego, we judge the ego, we want to hide the ego or just shove it under something. And it's really a shame because it's part of who we are, and it's important that we integrate all aspects of ourselves. And Matt Kahn does a wonderful job in talking about how to do that and how to integrate it, not to judge it, not to criticize it. It's an aspect of who we are, and it's important that we love the ego and embrace the ego as part of who we are. Yeah, so anything you want to say about your relationship with the ego, and what has been your journey on your spiritual path with the ego? How do you see it today? How do you view your ego today? And the next question is, how do you develop more compassion and empathy for it? You can see it as because it is an aspect of who you are. You can see it as an entity of sorts, and imagine sending love and compassion and healing energy to the ego, surrounding it in love, surrounding it in the grace of the divine, sending light and love to it, just like we would to anything else in our life that we're struggling with. If we are, the more that we're willing to embrace it as part of us and surround it and love it, the more it is likely to move on its own. Our first reaction as humans, I think, is to resist and push away the things that we don't want, and to say, I don't want this in my life. I want this out of my life. Let me just not pay attention to it, or let me do a spiritual bypass and pretend everything's okay, when that very thing is still hanging out saying, hey, I'm right here. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I'm right here. So, the ego is no different. Yeah. So BJ says it's an aspect that is important for my spiritual experience and growth. Yeah, absolutely. So BJ, you've done some work on this. I see based on your answer there, you recognize the importance of loving and embracing your ego. I'm going to do something a little different today. I found this beautiful passage in his book, and it's a passage that is, you can see it as an affirmation, but it's really a long one. It is more of it's about really embracing the emotions that we have as humans, and really honoring every single experience and emotion that comes through us as human beings, as we're walking this earthly walk and moving through our spiritual journey. And so I thought I would read this. I'm not going to include an affirmation in the chat today. I just want you to receive this, to open your heart and just receive it, and feel the vibration of the words, feel it moving through you. Just open your heart and just receive. I accept that everything I experience is only here to help me, whether representing patterns of emotional debris clearing out of my field, or acknowledged as layers of unconsciousness healed throughout the collective. I honor each thought and feeling for its highest evolutionary benefit. I embrace the nature of adversity that helps to create a proper melting point to transform personal rigidity into the light of my original form. I honor the gift of loss as it clears space in my reality for greater gifts to emerge. I acknowledge a deeper reason for fear as signals from the universe of impending moments of growth. I respect the wisdom of anger that reveals when someone is too overwhelmed by their healing journey to be able to interact in a heart-centered way. I welcome judgment as a helper who reminds me of the limiting beliefs I am clearing out of my energy field, as well as that of others. I embrace the benefit of overthinking as an alarm clock informing me how open or closed my heart tends to be. I recognize a deeper purpose for sadness as it arises in the very moments when the ego dissolves. I realize there is an upside to disappointment as the ego is given further permission to unravel whenever it doesn't get its way. I recognize the prophetic power of jealousy as a foreshadowing of greater blessings entering my reality, whether or not it matches the exact gifts others are destined to receive. I appreciate resentment as an unexpected liberator that shows me the areas of my life where I hold back from expressing my freedom of will at full capacity. Instead of getting tangled up in the sounds of conflict, I can respect, honor, and welcome each spiritual ally for its highest evolutionary benefit through the power of my breath. In doing so, I serve my purpose as an angel in human form who incarnated to uplift the collective without having to dim my light or match the vibration of those around me. And so I am free. And so just taking a deep breath, Just feeling still the vibration of the words that I just read. Feeling them move through your being, expanding your heart. Such an honoring of our emotions, such an honoring and embracing of our ego. Loving all those aspects of ourselves, loving every experience that we have, recognizing and knowing that it is part of our spiritual journey, and loving every aspect of it. And so I am knowing that each of us are blessed on this path, on this journey, that we are given everything that we need, that we are supported in every way, known and unknown, assisting us as we move through every challenge, as we move through every difficulty. I am knowing that we are lifted up and held by that unending power, that force that is God, that force that is the love of Spirit. And so it is. Amen. So I wish you a beautiful rest of your day and week, and look forward to being with you again very soon. And yeah, we're here if you need us, if you need support, if you need prayer support. Let us know how we can support you. Know that you are loved. Have a blessed day, everyone. Namaste.